A real honor to be seeing you, sir.
Likewise, brethren.
Bless up, bless up.
Mr. Garvey, sir, let me introduce myself. My name is Sidney Salmon. I'm a repatriated reggae artist. I've been living in Ethiopia now for going on to 19 years. I worked in New York City on Wall Street for 5 years, and I gave that up. So I want you to know it's a real honor meeting you. You're on the Ethiopia Tita Ralich radio program here in Addis Ababa, where we spread out to the world via the internet and locally local to the local population as well. So it's a real honor.
Wonderful, Sidney. It's a pleasure to meet you. Yes. And thanks for your background.
Yes, my pleasure.
Strong background.
Thank you, sir.
Him obedient to daddy,
Okay, good. good. Like we all are, how we should be.
Yes, your daddy, your father put something in me, So we're forever grateful. Radio Afro FM, we're talking to Mr. Julius Garvey, the son of the great the Honorable Marcus Garvey of Jamaica and the world. So we are so honored to be talking to Mr. Julius Garvey. You don't want to miss this interview, so please tune in, 105.3 Afro FM, your infotainment station, right here in Addis Ababa.
Julius, this is the 57th year of the commemoration of the founding of the OAU. And of course, Marcus Garvey was very instrumental in launching the global African campaign for African return and repatriation to Ethiopia. How has it been in your experience as the son of Marcus Garvey? How has things been in your connection and the continent of Africa?
Well, first of all, I would like to give thanks for the freedom fighters that have gone before, and those who set up the Organization of African Unity back in 1963 that we are celebrating and commemorating now in terms of May the 25th. People such as Kwame Nkrumah and, of course, His Excellency Haile Selassie, yes. and others such as Modibo Keita and Abdul Nasser, yes. and so many others of our heroes who wanted to unite Africa. And of course, that was part of the stimulus that was taken from the teachings of Marcus Messiah Garvey. As you know, Kwame Nkrumah was very, very impressed, if you will, and I think was actually a student of Marcus Garvey.
Yes, he was.
In terms of his understanding of Pan-Africanism.
Yes, sir.
And this is what he brought back to the continent of Africa. Certainly when they achieved independence in 1957 in Ghana. And of course, the 1945 conference in Manchester, which was a major Pan-African conference, which my mother participated in terms of helping to set up. And my father's first wife was actually there. So it was very much a Garvey type of Pan-Africanism. And people such as Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, and others brought that understanding back to the continent. Yeah. And out of that, and so on, in 1963, they were able to set up the OAU, although, as you know, Nkrumah wanted to move very quickly to a united states of Africa. Yeah. But there were others who did not want to move as quickly, and they wanted to go through their own nationalism. Mm-hmm. So we are here, as you mentioned, it's 57 years later, and even though we have an AU, an African Union, we still do not have that federated states of Africa that we need for Africa to be a continent, a continental government, and for it to really take its place. No, I'm saying that, it has been a long process. Yeah. And, we are making strides, but the strides are very, very slow. And I'm hoping that this particular period, which I think is a disruptive period in terms of the coronavirus, not just from the perspective of health worldwide, but I think also from the perspective of the global economy.
Yes.
And global governments. And I think this is going to be a period of time which will be transitional because there's a certain degree of weakening, shall we say, of the power structure that has held us in the post-colonial period, which is really neo-colonialism.
Yes.
So, Brother Julius, so would it be fair to say that this corona situation could work out better, could work out as a positive for us here as African people based on, do you think this could be a turnaround period for us?
A paradigm shift.
Well, as you know, within every disaster, there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And if you look back in terms of my father's movement, it came to fruition and reached its heights in the teens and early 20s of the 20th century. And that was the period of the 1914-18 war and the 1918 pandemic, which completely disrupted the world at the time with major mortality and so on. So, well, again, that was a period when the power structure was being shaken and being reorganized. And then if you look at another period post-World War II, in terms of 1945, we mentioned the Manchester Conference, which was very significant in terms of a Pan-African conference. Again, the world powers were shaken, the world powers were weakened. And that then led to the whole freeing of African nations, which began in 57 and throughout the 60s and so on. And I think we're now celebrating, the freedom of 60 years of independence of more than 16, 17 different African countries. Yeah. So periods like this are periods of disruption of the power structure. And therefore, it's an opportunity to do something. It's like an earthquake that comes and breaks a building, and the building collapses. And then you have an opportunity to build something else out of the rubble, shall we say. Yeah. So I think it's going to be definitely an opportunity. I think what people will look at and understand is that they need to move more towards the whole concept of self-reliance. Because this is one of the problems, is that the paradigm that we've had, as you mentioned, is a paradigm where we have been, shall we say, oppressed, and we're still being used as resources for the Western world. And as you know, this is particularly true, let's say, in France, and that is in the news at the present time, the French post-colonial structure with the CFA and so on, where they take out of Africa as much as $50 billion a year. Now, this is draining African resources. So this is a period of time now when we can reorient ourselves. As you know, France is going to be on its knees, so will Germany be on its knees. Europe will be on its knees in terms of trying to restructure their economy. America, the same thing. We have to now use this opportunity to say, well, look, the whole situation clearly is not useful for us. As we see, we need to build our infrastructure in terms of Africa, etc. We need to give our young people opportunities in terms of education, in terms of healthcare, in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of agriculture. I mean, this is obvious, and I know the young people see this, and they see that the old order is not useful for them. It's not helpful to them. It's not creating the right institutions. So I think this is a great opportunity for transformation.
That's that. You know, we hear a lot of the intimate history of what went on in that conference in 1945, and of course we do realize that there is indeed a paradigm shift taking place with the situation that we currently have. A lot of people are not aware that you are actually a medical doctor by profession. So being that we just mentioned about the pandemic we are having, are you a part of any efforts there in addressing the pandemic situation here for Africa?
Not directly, in that I have retired from private practice. approximately a year now. But I've been involved in efforts to help in that sense. But, just in terms of a general statement, I think it's important for us to understand that viruses are here and diseases are here. And they're not going to disappear or go away. There's a relationship between, quotes, a disease and a human host, just as there's a relationship between a bacteria or a virus and a human host. And neither the virus nor the bacteria can find a comfortable place within the human host if their immune system is strong. And this is one of the things that I think we need to focus on. There's a big focus here in the United States and elsewhere about vaccines. And a lot of, foreign objects are in vaccines at the present time, such as aluminium and mercury, and they're growing these entities with fetal cells, et cetera, et cetera. So vaccines are not necessarily the answer. We need immunity.
Yes, my brother.
And there are a lot of things that can be done to increase your immunity. Obviously, as brethren, you understand that the ITAL way of living and eating boosts the immune system. Fruits and vegetables have all kinds of isoflavones and lycopenes, anti-aging and anti-disease properties. And we need our vitamin C and our vitamin D and our vitamin E, etc., and oregano and so on and so forth. I don't need to tell you that. But we need to boost the immune system. That is what is very, very important. And if you see where the death toll is maximally, especially among us here in the United States, is those who have pre-existing conditions, meaning that their immune system is weak. So, brethren, what the message is to big up the immune system. You understand that?
Brother Julius, I had twins recently, 2 boys.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you so much. Them just reached 2 now, but people have been
2 warriors.
Yeah, 2 warriors, man. 2 sons of thunder.
Burning spear, Jomo Kenyatta.
So I am worried about this immunization thing. So much people have been warning me about. But if I don't give them the shots, what do I do to keep off that those diseases that can come, especially polio, is the one I'm so much afraid of,
Yeah, well, I believe that those older vaccines have been tested over long periods of time. You see, what has happened is that the new ones now that they're coming up with, as you look at the situation now, everybody's racing to come up with a vaccine. They're not even testing it properly in terms of safety. You see, because they're racing to come up with a vaccine because there's money in vaccine. Bill Gates wants to vaccinate the whole world. You see, so there's a big pressure for those kind of vaccines. Now, when I was a youngster, of course, I got all of these vaccines and so on and so forth. But those were tested and tried. And we didn't get a whole host of vaccines at one time. You see, and this is what they're doing now. They're putting a lot of stuff into the kids at one time. And there's possibilities of autism and other things. So, all I'm saying is to be careful. Find out exactly what is in the vaccines in terms of what your kids will be getting. Okay, because vaccines are good in general. But the problem is that people want to make profit out of it. And they've gone to, everything being a vaccine, and forgetting about the immune system.